And welcome to the Stable Boy finale edition of And They're Off. We'll get to that stunning breaking news in a minute. Steve Haskin, you made your initial foray of the season into Saratoga last weekend. The Whitney was run. I'll tell you, if I was Royal Delta or Game On Dude, I'd be pretty anxious to get on with the Breeders' Cup Classic, because these horses in the Whitney, to me, did not look that visually impressive. They looked like they were staggering a bit down the lane. Steve, what'd you think?
Well, I think I totally disagree with you.
Good.
Well, let me say one thing, okay? Cross Traffic was a 4-year-old maiden in January. He had never even started. He was making only his 5th career start, and his first start around 2 turns. He had run a mile in 1:32 and 4 in only his 3rd career start. In the Whitney, he put away the 1-2 finishes of the Breeders' Cup Classic after a 3rd quarter in 22 and 4. He's still very green. You could see the way he was meandering through the stretch. And he still managed to run the 3rd fastest Whitney in the last 10 years. The second horse, Successful Dan, fell in the paddock. He had to go 6 wide at the head of the stretch, and he came home his final 8th in 12 and 2. And the third horse, Mucho Macho Man, came into the race with only 1 start in the last 6.5 months. These horses are all going to get better, and I'm sure Fort Larned will if he can be more consistent. We just don't know what to expect from him. But we got to give these horses a break here. I think staggering is a bit harsh, don't you?
Well, I think some of these horses have been around a while, Steve. I think we know what they can do and what they can't do. So, you know, if you think Fort Larned is on the improve, he's going to be better than he was last year.
Well,
you think
no, I didn't
Mucho
say
Macho Man. Look, these are very good horses, but, you know, they're not great horses, and they don't always bring their A game. And I didn't see anything in that race that looked to me that was going to be up to the level of what a Game On Dude or a Royal Delta has shown they could do.
Well, listen, you may be right. I'm not saying any one of these horses are going to win the Breeders' Cup, but I'm just saying that I don't think that they were staggering in the stretch. All things considered, you had a very lightly raced green horse who ran in an unbelievable race, I thought. You had a second horse who had to overcome several things, and he's been unsound his whole life. And if he can stay sound for a while, he's going to get better. Mucho Macho Man only had 1 race in 6.5 months. And considering what he did last year, and throughout his career, he's been pretty consistent. He's only going to get better. Last year, he had a full campaign behind him. This year, he's going to have a very light campaign. He's not going to have any excuses this year in the Breeders' Cup. And Fort Larned, we just don't know about yet.
I know.
And, you know, Ron the Greek is always close. And I'm not saying these are great horses. I'm not saying they're exceptional horses. I'm just saying that this was a better race than you think. Okay. And I think any one of these horses is capable of winning the Breeders' Cup Classic.
I think we need Wise Dan in that Breeders' Cup to make it interesting.
Oh, well, don't start me on that. Don't start me on that. Yes, we do need them. And I'd love to have Royal Delta. I'd love to have both of them.
I wouldn't hesitate if I was the connections.
Oh, I wouldn't either.
All right.
I wouldn't either.
Last week was quite a time surrounding the stallion Unbridled Song, himself a very gifted racehorse who always seemed to be beset by injury problems. Unbridled Song unfortunately died last week. A few days later, his son Rockport Harbor, who was campaigned by our friend Rick Porter, also died. Then Cross Traffic, who is a son of Unbridled Song, goes on and wins the Whitney. Unbridled Song collected his 100th stakes winner, which is a magic mark for any stud horse. That's a heck of a lot going on around Unbridled Song in the space of a couple of days. Steve, you remember him well.
Yes, I did. And let's also remember that he had his son Dunkirk, who I think is going to make a tremendous stallion. Had a very impressive 2-year-old winner on Whitney Day named Duncan Bend, who won off by himself and won 10 and 1, and he could be any kind. But yes, I certainly do remember Unbridled Song, especially covering him in the Kentucky Derby. Here's a horse who went into the race with a bruised foot. He was training in 2 Z-bar shoes, wound up having to wear 2 egg bar shoes, which is the harshest bar shoe, which is like wearing combat boots. He draws post 19 in the race, and he tracks one of the fastest paces in the history of the Derby. 22 and 1, 46 flat, 110 flat. The two horses setting that pace, two very top-class horses, wind up 17th and 18th. He goes on, opens a big lead, gets tired in the last eighth of a mile. He finishes 5th, but he only gets beat 3 3/4 lengths and gets beat 2 photos for 3rd. This is wearing the 2 egg bar shoes. It was just an amazing performance, one of the best losing performances I've seen in the Derby or anywhere else. The horse was an absolutely brilliant racehorse through his career. Unfortunately, he was unsound. He's passed on that brilliance to his offspring, and unfortunately, again, he's also passed on a lot of the unsoundness. But boy, his horses could run, and he's certainly going to be missed.
Yeah, he was really a terrific sire, as you said, very popular in the sale ring, got runners all the time, and also, unfortunately, like you said, they seem to have their share of problems also, but certainly Unbridled Song will be missed. Everybody wants to see medication rules and penalties enforced on cheaters, except when it happens to them. Now, out in California, Carla Gaines seems like a very nice person. I've seen her on the backstretch with Labradors, which moves her way up in my book. But 2 fillies she trains have tested positive for excess levels of testosterone. Gaines admits having ordered a product on the internet advertised as, quote, equine anabolic formula. That should have been a red flag right there. The stuff is classified as an anabolic steroid. She also admits administering it to her horses, so this is not a contamination case. As a result, she got sat down for 30 days during Del Mar. Now her lawyer, who I think lost about every ruling along the way in this case, says that there hasn't been any real justice for her. And John Harris, her client who owns one of the fillies, says, quote, there is no evidence there was any intentional use of a prohibited substance or any reason to think it would have enhanced performance. Really? Why did she order and administer this stuff? What do you think it was, John? Sunblock? John Harris sat on the California Horse Racing Board when these regulations were established against the administration of these substances. In fact, he congratulated the people who worked on the regulations. You want tough rules and enforcement against people who put this kind of stuff into horses? Well, guess what? Those rules are for everybody, not just for the people you want to pick and choose. And you know what? It happened to Del Mar. Good. You know, I'm sorry she lost business, but you know what? If people are going to learn not to do this stuff, it's got to happen when it hurts. You know, you don't have to put the penalty forward to Fairplex where nobody races anyway. You know, you have to have some pain here. Steve?
You know, I'm really surprised that Harris used the word intentional, because intentional has got nothing to do with this at all. That's why they have the absolute insurer rule that puts all the responsibility on the trainer, whether it's justified or not. It's not always fair, but that's the way it is, and trainers have to learn to live with it and accept the consequences. It doesn't make them cheaters. Sometimes trainers slip up. Sometimes they have little or no control over what might get into their horses, whether it's intentionally or accidentally. But we have that absolute insurer rule for a reason. So that's the rule. You come up positive, you have to pay for it, intentional or not.
Look, she wasn't intentionally trying to get a level that was over and get caught, but she did administer the stuff to the horse, you know. And what the trainers have a responsibility of is knowing what they're putting in these horses. You know, you can't just order something off the internet and then claim, oh, I didn't know what was in here. No, that's your responsibility to know. And
that's another thing too. The internet's another thing too. By the way, you start ordering stuff like that, we have no clue what's in these things.
Exactly, it's a tricky business and risky business. And hey, look, I hope Miss Gaines comes out of it on the other side and does great. But you know what? This has to happen. All right, it is the end of an era. Stable Boy is leaving us to take a job at his beloved University of Kentucky. Take it easy, Steve. Alex Cut It In was just a tech head working the camera when we started and they're off in 2008. but in our very first show, and note please the jacket and tie that Steve Haskin is wearing, he stepped up straight into stardom. Alex, roll that clip for us. I think he and Patrick Stewart are one and the same people. And I think Patrick Stewart, being a Starship Commander of the Enterprise and Starship The Next Generation, the first Starship Commander to win the Kentucky Derby, is that not a great Derby God story?
Jack Wolf is a great Derby God story because he's a friend of mine.
What did we miss today?
The Jean-Luc Picard is the captain of the Starship Enterprise, not officially the commander.
The captain and not the commander.
The captain, that's right.
Folks, when you have entertainment gold like that, you just have to keep going back to the well with it. And over the last 4+ years, Stable Boy has had some big moments. Who can forget him kissing Stable Girl under the mistletoe, playing Puxatawny Phil on Groundhog Day, pulling winners out of, well, somewhere.
I've seen a lot of good horses out there, but Big Brown was the best. I'm gonna go with Super Saver. I wanted to pick a horse that Steve didn't, but it's hard not to.
And who can forget him playing with Kentucky Derby Barbie in a bit that was so disturbing it never aired. And of course, his great signature role as Honest Able Boy. Honest Able Boy, I see you're carrying an axe with you today. Are you getting confused with George Washington?
I thought I was here to promote my new movie, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Here's a clip. I can't believe my agent booked me on this show again.
We've watched him grow up and then regress right before our eyes. Steve, is there anything you would like to say to or about Stable Boy as he prepares to depart?
Yes, I would. This is like Happy Days, losing the Fonz. I mean, he started off the show as a minor character. He became a major star. And you know what? I hate to say it. We needed someone cool. We needed someone young. We needed someone cute. We needed someone with hair. And most of all, we needed someone to put up with all the goofy stuff that you put Stable Boy through. So yeah, he's going to be missed, but it's a no-brainer to take that job, and I wish Alex all the best.
Alex has enhanced these videos so much with his editing work and creativity, and we, along with his 2 or 3 fans, are really going to miss him here at And They're Off. Stable Boy, the last word is yours, and I do mean one word, that's it. What do you have to say?
Oh, just one word?
You've already gone above it,
so
keep going.
that 4+ years is actually 5 years and 3 months, 120 episodes. I think it looks like I lost about 35 pounds and 10 IQ points over the years.
And some hair.
But yeah, no, this has been the most fun thing I've done while I've been here, and yeah, I'm gonna miss doing it twice a month.
We're gonna miss you too, Alex. Happy trails wherever you end up. And you know what?
He didn't say he was going to miss us. He just said he was going to miss doing the show.
I think he thinks he's going to get basketball tickets because he's going to UK. He's got another thought coming to him. He might be back. We're going to try to book him in February, Steve. We'll see if he can keep his beard and top hat for that one. All right, we want to thank our viewers. We want to thank our sponsor, Darby Dan Farm. Steve and I will be together with you from Saratoga for our next show right after the Travers. That's going to be up, I believe, a day early. That'll be Tuesday, August 27th. Steve, can't wait to see you up in Saratoga.
Looking forward to it. Bye, Stable Boy.
Bye, Stable Boy. Bye-bye, everybody.